The seventh flavor of love is divine love. This beautiful grace that surrounds us, that is available to us at every moment. Divine love is one of the trickiest of the flavors of love to speak about for two reasons. First reason is because we don't really have language to describe such a universal benediction. The second reason is because spiritual teachers and religions throughout the ages have tried to describe this, and have used sometimes incredible language and metaphors to describe the love that is available to us at every moment. However, those religions have sometimes been at odds with each other. So any of the language that we use to describe divine love sometimes sounds religious, or like it comes from the church or some kind of dogma or ideology. And then all of our issues and triggers around God and words like that come up. So I'd like to invite you, as I talk about divine love, to put aside any of the prejudices or ideas you might have from your religious upbringing or from your society, and see if you can tap into the very fact that this quality of love exists. No matter what we call it, it's all the same stuff, just described in different ways. So the key words for divine love, the words that make sense, at least in English, are words like grace, benediction, universal, spirit, God, transcendence, bliss, existence, goddess. Right? These are all words that point to a similar phenomenon, that we are not just here alone, that there's this much greater spiritual context to our existence. And that the very fact that you were born, the very fact that you exist, is already a benediction. Divine love is sometimes something that we experience through our spiritual practice, in moments of prayer or meditation, maybe in the presence of a spiritual teacher. Yet many people experience divine love not through any particular religious endeavor, but just through living life. Often we come in contact with our divinity in moments of big transitions, like between life and death. When we come in contact with our own mortality, we also come in contact with that within us that cannot die. In moments of giving birth and welcoming new life into this world, sometimes people describe it almost like the heavens opened and angels are singing. These are all metaphors for divine love. Some people indeed do experience divine love through angelic beings or through qualities of light or moments in nature. It doesn't really matter how you experience it. And don't compare yourself to other people. Just trust those moments when something opens and you get a sense of grace showering upon you. In relationships, divine love is not personal at all. It has nothing to do with you and me and that kind of interpersonal realm. Divine love is universal. It's much more the relationship between you and the divine. It is between you and existence itself. So it can be shared with many people, and yet ultimately it's a very intimate relationship. It's only between you and your own consciousness. Sometimes it feels good to be in communities where this is supported. So this is a diffuse version of it. But in its essence, it is not a relational love. It is that place of knowing that you are loved however you are. When you get to experience yourself through the eyes of the divine, when you get to experience your own godliness, you also see that which is beyond all of the stories and the dramas and the traumas that you've lived through in your life. That is why divine love can be so deeply healing in moments of crisis, or in dealing with addiction, or in dealing with really, really difficult times in our life. Because that's when we get to see ourselves through God's eyes, and we get to experience the love that is intrinsic. We get to also discover how deeply loved we are, and also learn to accept ourselves in that way. When divine love is missing or blocked or out of balance, it actually causes enormous suffering. Often we don't even understand why. We don't even realize that this channel is blocked. Sometimes it's blocked because of all of these ideas and ideologies about religion, about God, and all of those concepts get in the way of our direct experience of our own divinity. Sometimes we have the experience that God has forsaken me, or there is nothing, or all of this spiritual stuff doesn't mean anything and I'm all alone in the universe. Sometimes that feels very dark. However, there is no polarity in divine love. It never goes away. The only thing that changes is whether we have access to it or not. The channel inside of us that either is open and receptive to divine love or is closed and disconnected from it. And when that channel is closed, we feel very deeply alone in that existential angst sort of way. Sometimes divine love can be out of balance in a different way. Sometimes it's easier to commune with the angels and the stars than to actually relate with other human beings, to actually function here on the earth in this physical world. So sometimes we have that experience of spiritual bypassing, of seeking divine love as a way of avoiding the growth and the opportunities that are available in the other 6 flavors of love. So divine love can be cultivated. You don't have to wait for a bolt of lightning or something magical to happen. It's actually a portal that you can slowly open gently and lovingly. The first thing I would recommend is any kind of spiritual practice, any tradition that resonates with you. Take away all of the stuff that you don't like and just focus on whatever spiritual practice really feels true and alive inside of you. And don't think about it, do it. A second way that's sometimes very helpful for people is to connect with a spiritual teacher, someone who is very connected to divine love. There's people whose life mission is to help open this portal in the world and to support other people in that. So if you find a spiritual teacher that you trust and resonate with, sometimes being in the field of a spiritual community can be very supportive, as long as it feels really true and authentic for you. Another way to support divine love is through being in nature. Many times, being in nature, overlooking a beautiful vista, connecting with the mystery of life is also a way of connecting with that deeper mystery within us. Again, you don't have to believe anything. You just need to experience directly the mystery of life. And the fourth practice that I've personally found to be very helpful is listening to music that has a spiritual dimension to it. It might be Handel's Messiah, it might be kirtan or some other kinds of spiritual chants. Any music that lifts you up, opens your heart, and helps you connect with the bigger universe and the bigger sense of the rightness of your existence. So try all of these practices out, choose one that really resonates with you. But most of all, put aside your preconceptions and tap into the divine, beautiful love that is available to you in every moment.